Hello and welcome to the Pig and Whistle Tales from Azeroth. As always, here at the Pig and Whistle Inn in Stormwind, I go through a variety of subjects with regards to World of Warcraft. So grab a bottle or a pint, sit back and enjoy. This midweek episode, what we'll be looking at is a few bits and bobs from recent Season of Discovery forum posts, as well as a few more bits and pieces that people aren't happy about. One of them being talent trees, and the other is, well, it's just a really weird sort of forum post, and I don't quite understand what they want with it. So let's start off with the Season of Discovery one, because I cannot stress how people don't comprehend this over 20 years of World of Warcraft. So DPS Warriors and Rets need a solid PvE rework, okay? So in Classic, in a normal Classic setting, this is just the title, by the way, I'll get into the actual post itself. In a normal Classic setting, Retribution Paladins are one of the worst classes in Classic. That's very simple. That's very simple. This is without the runes and like Season of Discovery, like tuning and stuff like that. But DPS Warriors, however, are one of the best DPS without runes and all of that stuff. So, according to data logs from, and then he just links a picture, classes who perform well with at least one DPS spec in Molten Core are Hunters, Rogues, and then he's gone from 1 to 9. So, Hunters, Rogues, Warlock, Mage, Druid, Shaman, Priest, Warrior, and Paladin. So he is saying Warrior and Paladin are the bottom two classes that are not performing well in Molten Core DPS-wise. Literally, those classes are the bottom of the DPS charts for PvE content. Rep PvP burst is obvious, thus it cannot be raw damage. It has to be some other build-up mechanic. Though Warriors, Blizzard, seriously, most complicated rotation with Tier 1, requiring stance, skill cap above, what is that, Musk's Starlink possibilities. I don't think that Warriors rotation is that of Elon Musk's Starlink possibilities or whatever he's trying to say, because you're pressing heroic strike and bloodthirst off cooldown and then execute, and like if you have to stance to put Sunder armors on, then do that, but I'm pretty sure you can do that in Berserker stance, it's whatever. Are you seriously joking with this class? It sucks in PvP, it sucks in PvE. Can't tank without Shaman's alpha buff. Garbo Dog Budget Rogue takes aggro from you. Can't DPS without full world buffs, consumables, weapon stones. That's an F. Serious one. Already re-rolled a rogue, so I don't care anymore. Just pointing out how out of touch you are with class design. Blizzard were always out of touch with class design when it came to like classes in Classic World of Warcraft. You go through the handbook, for example, and they tell you, like for the Classic handbook, and they tell you to take Improve Rend, like in the Classic handbook. Like they weren't great. I say Blizzard were out of touch, like with class design. They aren't, because they're giving people like what they want, and they literally said they want classes like in Season of Discovery to be as OP as Warriors, rather than nerf Warriors. So they know that Warriors are OP, and they were in Classic. They were always top DPS alongside Rogues. Now, Rogues are very good right now in Season of Discovery, whether it be world buffs or without. But if you are to go into the next, like, raids, Blackwing Lair, Uncourage, Naxxramas, Karazhan Crypts, whatever they release in Season of Discovery, Warriors will just get better. And the thing is, everyone in Classic is like, oh my god, world buffs are so amazing, and like, oh my god, I always want to get world buffs and stuff. Like, it's part of Classic. World buffs for Warriors turn them into the best DPS in the game, okay? And it's not even close. So, he gave me this list of Warrior and Paladin being at the bottom. So I did some research. The current Molten Core in raids, okay, or in raid logs, if you look up Molten Core in Season of Discovery Phase 4, you bring up a list of what everything is and where everything is. So Survival Hunter and Assassination Rogues are top 2. And then you go Marksmanship Hunter, Affliction Warlock, Fire Mage, Feral Druid, Combat Rogue, Enhancement Shaman, and then Fury Warrior. Okay, so Fury Warrior, out of all of the DPS, and bear in mind you have, like, DPS specs wise, you have what, 3, 6, 9, 12, Jesus, 15, 18, 19, no, 20 DPS specs that there can be in Season of Discovery. Well, technically 21 if you count Arcane Mage, but Arcane Mage is currently a healer in Season of Discovery, so I'm not counting that. They are 9th. They are middle of the pack, okay? And they're not even a bad middle of the pack. They are competing with everything in there. Now, a Survival Hunter and MM Hunter are very much on the higher end. They are the 3 outrunners of everything. Everything else, until it gets to Frost Mage, is very much in and around itself. Like, very good. And it even surpasses, like, 2 of the classes that are above it. So that it has a very long scale. It's a weird graph. But essentially, the highest potential that you can get is a 90 score for Fury Warrior, okay? This is, like, what's been the best that's been done. Now, this is better than Combat Rogue, who has an 85, like, score. Okay? And it's better than a Affliction Warlock that has just under a 90 score. Okay? So it's technically 6th if you're looking at it. 6th? 7th? No, 7th, yeah. But yeah, you have the 3 outrunners, which are the Survival Hunt, or the Hunters, and then the Rogue. But it really isn't that bad. This guy is saying that they need buffs. They do not need buffs. He is talking out of his arse. He really is. Has he never... I don't think he's ever played Classic and seen how good warriors are. He's just saying it just to try and essentially get them buffed when they don't need to be buffed, because they are very good scaling-wise. The gear that is in Classic and will come out in Classic will rush them to the top of the fucking DPS meters. And if you aren't happy with how they are now, simply get world buffs. You'll be fine. You aren't gonna, like, worry about it then, are you? Because you'll be top of the damage. And then it's suddenly, oh my god, we need to stop getting world buffs to other classes because warriors are the only ones who actually get use out of them. Like, it's gonna be some shit like that. But it makes no sense. It makes no absolute sense what this guy's put. Warriors are one of the best classes in Classic and Season of Discovery. I don't even need to play Season of Discovery to know that. I get that the PvP is absolutely, like, so turned on its arse because of all of the runes and because there's a lot of burst damage, there's not a lot of sustain. It's very weird, Season of Discovery PvP, but Warriors are certainly not one of the worst. Warriors can be tough in PvP to play, but if you simply press a free action potion, you should be fine against, like, a mage or a druid or anything like that. But yeah, like, it's just ridiculous. Some things that are on this forum are absolutely ridiculous. As for the next one, now this one is the very confusing one, and I don't know really how to go about this. Maybe replace questing with something else. That's the title, and it simply states, hi guys, questing, it's like for 2004. It's 2024. Wouldn't it be about time for Blizz to replace it with something more fun and rewarding? That's it. That's the question. And the question that I'm going to ask is, what do they replace it with? You have no quests and you just simply kill mobs? Is that all you want? Just to kill mobs? Okay, let's do that. But if I'm looking at it from a very practical point of view, there isn't anything that they can replace it with. Because questing is such a fundamental part of any MMO. You have to do quests to level up. Like, how else are you going to level up? Just killing mobs? No, that will get boring very quickly. Dungeon spam? Boring very quickly because it's just killing mobs. Boosting in a raid or a dungeon, getting boosted by, like, a mage or a hunter or something. Again, boring very quickly. You're just standing there doing nothing. Discovering places? But that seems really weird because all you're doing is running around the world and you get Discover XP. Yeah, that's boring as hell. Like, people also below are very much questioning this. They are simply saying such as, because MMOs are known for just questing. You do a quest, you come back, you pick up another quest, you come back. Yeah, all of that shit. There is just no alternative to questing. You need to quest in order to get XP and to level. Now, this person goes into it a little bit. So you can level up via dungeons or PvP. There's plenty of alternatives to questing. Back in Kata, when I realised I leveled up from level 60 to 80 strictly via archaeology. Oh, okay, yeah. Back in Kata. Yeah, makes sense. I was going to say, how do you level from 60 or 70 to 80 when in Wrath, like, archaeology wasn't a thing and it didn't give XP, but he did say Kata, my bad. And questing is an inherent part of D&D, like RPG sort of MMO games, stuff like that. So it makes no sense. He provided nothing in terms of like what you would do to like change questing or whatever. If you guys have any sort of ideas on what you would like to see instead of questing, like, please let me know, because I can't think of anything. My mind is drawn a blank, and it rarely does that. But it's just an inherent part of the game, and it's ridiculous. This person says, I'd rather they replace Raids and Mythic Plus with something fun. I mean, it is fun. I would say Mythic Plus is quite fun for other people, because you can, like, push it very far and stuff, but I thought he was going to say replace it with Raids and Mythic Plus, like questing, and I was just going to say, how are you going to do that? That makes no sense. But yeah, this is just a weird post. I don't think there's any thought behind it. And I think it's stupid, to be honest. I think it is absolutely stupid. Now, the last one is going to be a bit different. So this one is always going to be a controversial point when Dragonflight talents came back. Make talents simple again, okay? The current talent trees will face exactly the same problem as vanilla talent trees, becoming bloated and meaningless over time, and people getting more levels and points. There is no need to unnecessarily complicate trees with meaningless points in between and pathing problems. The more complicated it is, the less likely players will actually read/think/test it, and more likely they will just copy and paste from third-party websites. It defeats the purpose to develop a complicated talent tree. Bring back the 7 rows of 3 options, BFA, and Legion BFA Shadowlands talent trees. No pathing requirements, easy and fast to set up, and ready to go in less than 1 minute. That is so boring, though. That was so boring. It allowed you to do nothing, really. In PvP, I'm looking at my talents all the time, and I'm chopping and changing a few talents here and there. Now, I'm not changing the entire talent tree, obviously, but I am chopping and changing a couple talents every, like, game. So PvE players probably won't. They might change it every week to accommodate the Mythic Plus stat, or Mythic Plus of fixes, or something like that, go into a more AoE build or a single target build. But like, I'm changing my talents constantly, not massively, but I am like changing them every now and again. So I don't think that they're bad. The problem with the BFA, Legion, and Shadowlands talent trees is that it was so boring. It was boring to look at. It was boring to test. It was just not fun. It really wasn't. At least with these talent trees, you have a few choices. If you really wanted to put like the extra cooldown in Solar Beam, for example, which you do in PvP, you can. If you don't for PvE, then you don't. You take like Starfall instead and the Starfall talents, but you don't in PvP, so there is more sort of viability to it. Whereas like in PvP and PvE, you'd both take Vortex or something, or Mass Root, or Ursoc's Fury, or Incap Roar. There would be very less diversity, and people still just copy it. Like, people still just copy the talent trees for what it is and what's the best at the moment for your what you're doing endgame wise, PvE/PvP. So it's a bit ridiculous in my honest opinion, and it's more rewarding getting the talent point every single level. That's just my honest opinion. Now, I think you could do stuff in later expansions that can move the talent trees a bit more, potentially. Like, you can make your own talent trees, but, there's a few bits and bobs to that. Maybe merge both of them. So you have, the sort of Dragonflight talent trees now, but instead of a set sort of format, you can put like a few choices on each different row. So I think there's like 15 different rows, or what, we'll just say 10 different rows for simplicity's sake, on the left-hand talent tree. Yeah. What you can do is it's a blank talent tree, but you have certain options that you can put in. Okay. And these options are from everything, like from the talent trees themselves. So you'll have it, they're always a choice node, if that makes sense. So all of them are choice nodes, and most of them are passive, we'll say. You can merge the two, but going back to one or the other isn't really a solution. So complicated equals / hard / good. I don't know what this guy says in this sentence, so I'm just not going to read it. Complication is the least thing needed. Okay, it isn't complicated. The talent trees are not complicated. One of the best things in Dragonflight is the removal of borrowed power systems. By reintroducing old-style talents and making them even more cumbersome, it's one of the last things needed. Make talents simple again. Talents were never simple. Talents were never simple in Classic, because you had talents that were just dead talents. Well, I suppose that does make them simple, because there were only a couple right choices. There were some really dead talents in Classic, and I don't think that that's what people want. People want the element of choice. I personally don't use some of the talents that are on my left-hand side tree and right-hand side talent tree, but when I'm running old content, old raids, old dungeons for transmog mounts, whatever it might be, there are talents that I take, because it is a speed set that I use for these like talent trees, and people just don't think about that sort of thing. Like they do have niche uses. Like in like Classic WoW, there were some very niche uses for certain talents, but people don't look into them. People don't read their talent trees, which is what he said here. But that's on them. That's not on the player base. And the people who actually understand the talent trees and like use them can get a good effect from them. Like they can get the most out of them. People just need to like calm it down. This isn't the end of the world. And I think that these talent trees are very, very good. And this person, like below, sums it up perfectly. One talent every 15 levels, no thanks. Yeah, that's boring. That's really boring. How, like, it makes no sense. Like, I'm getting my 13th level. What do I get? Nothing. You get nothing. You get absolutely nothing. Okay. What about my 14th level? Nope, nothing. Okay. 15th. Oh, congratulations. You get a talent point. Oh, thanks. Does this mean that I get one every single level now? No, you gotta wait another 15 levels. Oh, okay. And then what do I get? You get a bash. You get a 4-second bash. That's it. That's your reward for 15 levels. You know, how is that fun? How is that fun? Whereas every level, if I go down my talent tree, I'll be like, oh, okay, so I get shooting stars at the top talent at level 11, and then next talent I'll get solar beam at level 12, and then the next talent I can get treants or fury of a loon. That's really cool. I'll test that out. And then I can maybe get astral power, where it increases my astral like generation. You know, there's multiple things, and they all do different, like they all have different purposes, and that's the enjoyment of these talent trees. But yeah, 15 levels for one talent point? No, thank you. It's ridiculous. But that is where I will end it for this episode. Thank you all very much for listening. Do check out all of the socials down below, constant stuff happening over there. And do check out the recent link that has been added down there. There is a shop. I've now opened a little shop selling sort of 3D printed Warcraft models or D&D stuff, anything along them lines. So please check it out. You're more than welcome to order anything, check it out, leave reviews, whatever you like. But hopefully, you know, more and more stuff will be added on there. I've just recently added a little dark portal, as well as a like guard tower on there, like a human guard tower. You have molten corgis, you have shaman totems up there already. So give it a look, and hopefully you find something that you enjoy. But thank you all very much once again, and go with valor, friend. Goodbye all.